Hello, I'm Jo, and welcome to the Midlife Entrepreneur Podcast, a new show that's all about building a business in midlife. My guest this week is Anna Foster, founder and creative director of pioneering upcycling brand E.L.V. Denim. Prior to founding the brand in 2018, Anna had been a fashion editor for 20 years, working at the cutting edge of publications such as Exit and ID magazine. Anna's practices have been widely recognised by the industry, receiving the British Fashion Council's Trust Fund in 21, 22 and 24. She's also won the Innovate UK Women in Innovation Award, which spotlights a diverse group of trailblazing women who are changing the world through the power of their ideas. Anna has collaborated with some major brands including Gabriela Hearst and Hyundai, and last year launched an industry-first collection with online luxury retail platform The Outnet, repurposing years of excess inventory held by the retail giant. Love that. This February, E.L.V. Denim was the first sustainable brand to show on the schedule at London Fashion Week, drawing a huge audience of influencers and editors from around the world. And I can tell you it was amazing because I was there. And in the same month, the brand also was named Brand of Tomorrow by Walpole, which is the official sector body for UK luxury. It's clear there's no stopping Anna and her mission that in a world of overconsumption, she can make a difference. Anna, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jo.
I'm so curious to understand the moment that you decided to embark on this business, because you've been in the industry for a long time, obviously worked with lots and lots of brands and seen both sides of the business, the glossy side, of course, which is what we create as journalists and stylists, and then the other side of the business, which is the production and the management and the overproduction, I guess, of what was going on. So was there a moment that was pivotal for you?
Gosh, I don't think there was one wake up and we had felt like a slap round the face or anything to say this has to change, but there was quite a few key moments that I reflect on now, being firstly my kind of questioning of what I was part of. Secondly, questioning whether this career that I had loved for so long, styling, and image creation and creative direction, was really what I was meant to be doing. And I think that I had found that my work as a stylist and with the brands I was working with, I was just questioning too much. And then I started playing around with denim and creating silhouettes, creating shapes that women were finding a solution for a problem they'd already had, never being able to find a pair of jeans that made them feel good. And I think I took those 20 years of working with designers, understanding the fit, understanding women's shapes, and, of course, wanting people to look good, because essentially fashion is an inspiration. It is your armour. It gives you the confidence. And a good outfit can do that, whether it's on the page, inspiring readers of a magazine, inspiring consumers to buy from the images you've created with a brand, or with personal styling. And I think essentially that was my view as a stylist. I wanted to create beautiful fashion, but I wasn't really finding the right envoy. The final product wasn't satisfying my need. And then I was working for a high street brand, and we were on this tiny island just off Florida, and they'd all been arguing with my agent about how much my rate and things like that, which is obviously a really pleasant conversation to be part of. And this dress hadn't arrived in time. It went on an express plane from China to New York. It then got its own plane from, I think, a private plane from New York down to Florida. Then it was couriered down to the mainland, and then it got a boat over to us.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like,
the dress flew
first
class all the way.
Yeah, and it was worth £12. And then they retouched it, and I just thought, what is going on? It was just all about this huge amount of mass production, and which of course I knew, but it was just, when you sometimes realise what it makes you step back and think something is not right here. And so it was that, plus wanting to really go back to this vision of trying to find products, create items for women that make them feel special and are unique. Because upcycling clothes, every garment is different.
Yeah.
I think there's a real push now to finding individuality, not being one of 1,000 people, 2,000, 3,000 people in the same garment. And everyone's personality is coming through. And I think clothes need to reflect that. So it was a catalyst of quite a few things. Yeah. And I think I wanted to do something that outlived me.
It's really interesting. I mean, you'd had a really successful career in anybody's view. You were doing these really big jobs, worked for some of the most cutting edge magazines that will go down in history as pioneers of creativity. And like you say, there isn't necessarily a kind of light bulb moment that goes, oh my God, I have to do something about this, but a building up of the puzzle kind of coming together for you.
Yeah, and I think you're less likely to be able to take the rubbish that comes along with a lot of the jobs that you get. And I'm like, goodness, I guess I was my late 30s when I started figuring all this out. And if I'm honest, had I reached the pinnacle of where I wanted to be, had I had set myself out 15 years earlier, probably not. And that doesn't diminish my ability as a stylist. It just means that the right opportunities weren't there at that time, which put me on the trajectory where I had hoped I would get. And I think that's quite a hard thing to admit to yourself.
Depends how lofty your ambitions were. Because in most people's view, even just being in the industry, it's so hard to get into the fashion industry. We know that.
Yeah.
And we're all so fortunate if we've had a door open to us and we are able to step in and get an opportunity to do that. And certainly I've worked with some of the fashion colleges, just doing coaching and workshops and stuff, and they're desperate to get a break. And I think even though you're saying maybe you didn't achieve what you had in your mind, whatever that may have been, to those people, you're doing it, right?
No, I get that. Yeah. But I guess when my career into styling didn't really... I'd been to university. I had a traditional degree. So I literally wrote letters and delivered them by hand to Fiona Dalla Negra at ID, to Jane magazine that doesn't exist now, and then a couple of others. And Fiona Dalla Negra phoned my mum on my landline because I was living at home with my parents.
Yeah.
And I took the call there, and she said, look, will you come and do work experience?
Amazing.
I was working at a job at Time magazine doing sales and marketing because that was the job I took out of university. So I turned up to ID magazine wearing this like A-line navy kind of pinafore dress with a shirt. I mean, very Miu Miu now. They were all in there. No, this was late 90s. I can't even reference now, but it was all Margiela and Hussein Shalai, and then I was turned up like, Pollyanna. But I worked really hard.
Yeah.
I worked really hard, and yes, I probably wasn't the stereotypical person to work at ID, but I made myself indispensable. So I guess I came for pure tenacity. I got my foot in the door where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I think I did it the same in my 40s.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this isn't where I'm going.
Yeah.
I need something else, but that has to take form with everything else that I'm coming to believe in.
Yeah.
And I'd always been a massive denim lover. And then it doesn't take you long to research the facts about denim.
No.
And I think that combined with my mother had always taught me to be thrifty and make good out of things that you don't need. You remember stickers, right? Collecting stickers at school.
Of course.
Yeah. So all the kind of cool kids had the smelly ones, the puffy ones, the one with eyes, the metallic ones. My mum made me stickers out of penguin wrappers and put sticky back plastic on the back. And I'd have to go into school and try and swap a penguin wrapper. So I'd have to had 90 penguin wrappers for one, because that different stickers had different commodities.
I love that.
But she taught me all the way through my life. And she made beautiful things out of nothing. And I think that sentiment, I lost her in 2007, but I think she'd be so proud of me now. And I have her tenacity without a doubt. I currently on the phone to HMRC at the moment, over isn't everybody, and I've been speaking to this guy, and he went, I've got no doubt your ability to make this happen, Anna. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Yeah. And I think even people that aren't in the media industry recognise I refuse to let big business trample over me completely.
Yeah.
When you come up against someone saying, oh, this is how it is. No.
I'm not going to accept that.
No, I'm not going to accept this. Why do you think just because you've got more resources than me, do you think that it's okay to diminish or not accept that what we're doing at my business is valid just because you're a bit scared.
But that's a really powerful message to people listening who maybe have started something, finding it quite difficult. It's that kind of the resilience, the tenacity, the determination, which the way you're describing it is definitely determination, right? That I'm going to find a way. And you're 7 years in, and some would argue that what you're doing is incredibly difficult, because you're not just saying, here I am, I'm creating, you are obviously trying to, number one, create beautiful clothes that people want to buy.
Yeah, and that has to be
what's
the fit.
The point?
Because you can make the most sustainable thing in the world, but if no one wants to wear it, you're just perpetuating the waste problem.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you've got that challenge, number one, which is for any brand is a challenge, right? To keep that up, to keep bringing in new things, to make sure the cut's perfect and you've got a customer. Yeah. And then the second part of it is the messaging. One of the things that really struck me going to your presentation at Fashion Week, which by the way was so beautiful and so poignant, just for people listening, you walked into this incredible environment, this enormous pile of landfill effectively, but obviously these were clothes that you're able to repurpose. And then we went around the room and we really went on a journey of the industry, what's happening, the water waste, all of those things that you were describing. And it was really powerful. You're doing that as well so that you're trying to stay true to the values of the brand, trying to create on their own just beautiful clothes. You've set yourself a big challenge there.
Yes, in hindsight, yes, I have done. And had I realised what path I was going to be going on in 2017 when I started thinking about this, would I have done it? Probably would have done. I really think I would have done. I don't think if I'd seen where I was going to be and the challenges you'd face on the way. But also I was completely naive when it came to the world of pattern cutting and manufacturing the most, like manufacturing and sourcing the denim. I was like, oh, this is fine. There are more jeans than people in the world. This is fine. And so I started collecting, but then it's not good enough just to cut things up and put them together.
No.
You've then got to try and find the magic ingredient, which is finding a way of homogenizing. And I think I keep using this word homogenize, and I think that's the right context. Taking so many things that are all different, all shapes and sizes, and transforming them into a cohesive size range from 24 up to 38. Actually 40 we do as well. So you have to be able to manipulate what is in front of you. You firstly have to transform a million different pieces into a relatable form for the existing industry to be able to cope with.
Yes.
It's like turning loads of oranges into apples, and then because people only cut apples. I don't know, it's like that.
Actually, what you're just describing is so challenging. So let's say we've got two pairs of jeans that have gone, for all intents and purposes, they'd be thrown away if you hadn't.
They're either damaged, they're really misshapen, because lots of garments get put into the world that haven't really been thought about. So the fit's not great. Maybe the zip went in the wrong place. Maybe for jeans, maybe the pocket, something wasn't right. But when you're producing, it's a bit like, oh, whatever, nobody will mind. Out it goes to the shop floor.
Wow.
And so then when the shop floor gets it, it could be that they realise that this product, this jacket, this skirt, whatever, isn't selling well. So then they will remove it from the floor, or they'll try and sell it and discount it. But essentially you are devaluing that garment in the eye of the brand, the consumer, anyone. So really it's much easier to just throw it away.
Yeah. And that's happening.
But this is happening over since the 50s.
Yeah.
You can't even tell the provenance of where our jeans come from or the age.
Yeah.
But production, 70s, 80s, you've got 5 decades of denim production, and we're producing more jeans than people. We're producing about 4 billion pairs of jeans a year.
4 billion?
Yeah, 4 billion. Yeah, and there are 8 billion people in the world. So people go, how do you make this lofty statement? There are more jeans than people. I said, you just use your common sense. Newsweek presented loads of figures, I think it was in 2020, about what you produce every year. We make 5 trillion T-shirts. And it's 4 billion pairs of jeans.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the World Health Organization that states we've got 8 billion people in the world, that's the basic maths.
Yeah.
But then you have to think about all the other years of production.
And I suppose you've got to also find the right type of denim fabric that you want to work with as a brand. So the quality of the fabric is important, because you're producing premium clothing, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're producing something that's really unique and you want people to keep for a long time.
You have to match the colours, because if you're producing 20 pairs of jeans for one store, you can't just cut loads of pairs of jeans and present it and go, here you go, Selfridges, here are 35 pairs of jeans of completely different sizes, completely different styles and colours.
Yeah.
Ooh. Fashion insiders love that. And that's how I started. Alex Eagle was super lovely, and like she opened her apartment to me.
To explain who Alex Eagle is for
Sorry.
people who don't know.
Yes, sorry. Alex Eagle is a very dear friend and an inspirational style tastemaker in London. She really is. And she opened her apartment to me, and she really believed in what I was doing. And she invited her connections, some of my connections in. So we had Sarah Harris from Vogue, Camille Charrier, who's an influencer, Lauren Cuthbertson, royal ballerina, and a few others. And they came in and they picked their jeans, and I altered them to fit. So immediately you've got some great people, but women nevertheless that trying to find the perfect fit for their body.
Yeah.
But then when I took it to Selfridges, who were the first people I approached, they were like, we love this idea about how do we even put a SKU on it or a barcode? We can't, because they're all different.
Yeah, makes sense though.
So I had to go back and figure out how to make this one shape, how to continually produce it at time again and again.
Yeah.
And then you have to match the denim of the weights of the denim. You have to make sure the colours are the same. You have to make sure the hem lengths are the same. But first, before then, you have to make sure the condition of the jean. So
it's a massive process.
Yes, it is a massive process.
Yeah. And when you started that, have there been iterations of how you produce things? Because presumably you said you went into it completely naively, just wanted to solve a problem. Has that been something that you've had to address?
Constantly.
Yeah.
Absolutely constantly. And I would say daily.
Yeah.
Because we find jeans and shirts. And when I say jeans, like I'm just talking like one word for everything that we upcycle now, because that's what we started with jeans. But you find jeans in different conditions. And as we've grown and as we've developed, we've been able to go down the scale. So denim is graded. So you have grade A, which is pretty top condition, small sizes, desirable. So you would go into any vintage store and pick a pair of jeans and walk out with them.
Yeah.
And that is great, because in a circular economy, you don't want your beautiful red sweater you're wearing today anymore. So you decide to give it to someone that really loves red. And so that's going to go to a good home and be loved again.
Yeah.
But that is a very small percentage of the pieces. What you're left with is the large shapes, misshapen, damaged, all those pieces. And so then they go into grade B, grade C, grade D, and even grade E. And I want to be able to sweep up and give purpose and make beautiful again the pieces that no one else wants.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge for me. And also, it's a solution for the textile waste industry, because it's much easier to handpick all the pieces that people want. It's not easy to just take the rest of the pieces and rework it.
Yeah.
And I think that, for me, is also a solution for a wider industry.
Yeah.
When we're trying to think of beautiful solutions for what is not just the UK's problem, it's a global issue. And look, I'd just like to say here, I'm not an environmentalist. I'm just an environmental enthusiast that sees such a shame in front of me. Why is this all left? Why?
Yeah.
It becomes a bit emotional, because I want to give love to those pieces and purposes. I'm wearing this blazer now. This is our tux jacket. And we found about 150, 200 of these morning coats a year or so ago.
Yeah.
These were all worn by men getting married. So a token of love and a beautiful experience. But of course, maybe they're worn once or not worn very often.
Yeah.
So I cut off all the tails, pleated it using the amazing pleaters that you would have seen at the presentation, and put it back into the jacket. And it sounds a bit soppy, but each creator gets emotional about the purpose of their piece. I went and saw Carolina Bucci yesterday, who's jewellery designer, who I adore. I used to work with her. I used to do her campaigns. And I went to get a bracelet because my father, who passed away last year, gosh, it's sounding a bit depressing, aren't I? Sorry, but it's reality of life as you get older.
Yeah, of course.
He'd given me some money for my 50th, which I hadn't spent. So I went there and I told her about this yesterday when I saw her, and she welled up. She said, that's the emotion that I love. And I think when I am able to give that item to someone that's never had a pair of jeans to fit, when I've got a girl in tears saying, I've never found a pair of jeans that made me feel like this. But for that moment, that girl can go every day, put those jeans on, and know she can conquer anything because she feels good in her body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I look at this jewellery and I think of my dad every time I wear it.
Yeah.
So going back to what I was saying about the pieces, I feel a real responsibility to make good all the damage that was done in the first place.
Yeah. But I also think that your story it's so interesting, because you were getting emotional when you were telling those two stories about your father, but also about repurposing these much loved on that day item of clothing that you've now brought back to life. But it just also made me think about your way you were brought up with your mum and like, you know, making outfits out of things, and can you find another way? So it's just a thread that's been running through your entire life, and I can see how important it is to you, because you wouldn't get emotional if it wasn't important.
I think that's very relevant, and sometimes I don't have time to get emotional about things. Put it in a box, put it away. But when someone says to me, you can't do this, I'm like, but why can't I create amazing clothes from other things, and why can't I make it seamless and a cohesive collection? And why can't I scale it? I've been told no so many times. You can't do this. Oh, no, you can't do that. Oh, you know, hear about E.L.V. Denim? Yeah, this won't work. I'm here 7 years later. I've got a team of 6. We're growing. We're just taking on an international distributor. Yeah, look, there are bumps in the road. There really are bumps in the road. And you get them every week. But you also get the highs.
Yeah. Talk to me about the highs first. I'd like to understand, what is it that gives you the energy to keep going despite the challenges that inevitably any business would have, but particularly as one as complex as yours that's doing something very unique? I'm sure there are people doing things in a small scale, but you've really created a brand.
Yeah.
Everybody knows your brand. So tell me about the highs that keep you going.
What the big high for me generally is that we are the only brand in the world that is 100% upcycling at scale, producing locally. There is no one else. And
in the whole world?
No. There are lots of brands start to upcycle. I probably can't name them, but you got other people in our space, our competitors in our space.
Yeah.
And they all start upcycling. But invariably, every single brand then goes into raw materials and virgin fibres.
Okay.
So they establish themselves in that space.
Yeah.
But then once they've got there, they just start really, our style is so popular, so we thought we'd recreate it using virgin fibres and organic cottons.
Yeah.
La-da-da-da-da. But still, they're using virgin fibres.
Yeah.
So one by one, we literally have a list. Gone.
But it's got to be financial, right?
Yes, of course, because they want to generate more revenue and profit. And I think you can still create revenue and profit, but it doesn't have to be on such a large scale. I'm reinvesting everything back into the business to launch different processes, the show. I say to my team, and this is sometimes the things that are real highs, I'm jumping off a bridge and waiting for the parachute to come. And I know that parachute will come.
This is pertinent. You're clearly a very driven and determined person, like the not taking the no's and the keeping going and the knowing that you are a unicorn in the world. There's an amazing part of that, and there's also a part that says when clearly that doesn't work because you're the only one doing it and everybody else has moved into something else. But so there's something there that's keeping you and driving you, and that's incredible. And that's something that we should all be getting a bit of, because you could bottle some Anna potion and we could all have some of that, please. But how do you keep your team thinking the way that you do? How do you inspire and motivate them to go with you on this jumping off the cliff without a parachute feeling? Because it's not just you, is it? You've got all these people that work for you. How do you do that?
That's one of the highs. It's actually is the team around me. They're amazing. They are honestly amazing. And when all the celebrities come out on the red carpet and go, it takes a village. It does. It takes a really amazing team, and they all believe in my vision. They had their visions before. It's just they found someone that can lead the ship that they believe. But there's jumping off a bridge, and there's jumping off a bridge and taking everyone with you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
As they're my number one priority. They're already got their parachutes.
Okay, so you've given everybody the oxygen mask first.
Yeah, I did.
You are just going to go, okay, I will freewheel this one and see what happens.
Exactly.
So
and actually, that's a really good thing. I should go back to my team today and say, just so you know, that parachute analogy is really just for me and not for you.
But that must be hard then for them to watch, because they know then that what you're basically saying is you're saying that their jobs are safe and secure as long as you can do that, and you're going to take the risks and do the things, the really hard stuff, in an attempt to also protect what you've built. But that must be quite hard to watch from their perspective too.
Yeah, I'm reflecting on that right now, because we're a very open office. We share everything. Yes, it's my business, but we do things collectively.
Yeah.
And we all are there to bounce ideas off each other. And if my team go, I've got doubts about that, if someone has a doubt, we have a conversation. And whether it happens or not, I can't say. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because I think my team have got a very valued place and opinion in my business.
Yeah.
Because they really are the support network. And that's why I wanted them all to be in the show. And I wanted everyone to have validation.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it is myself, the face of the brand, that goes out to take all the credit.
Yeah.
But it's not always fair.
No, and I suppose things like those kind of shows is where everybody can feel really proud.
Yeah. I mean, we brought back all our interns.
Yeah.
And what's so exciting is that our scalability is built on how we have taught all the ateliers we work with to upcycle, how we've taught all our interns to upcycle. So now when we need freelance work, when we are stretched internally, we bring back our interns.
Yeah.
And so they work for us.
Nice.
And that's the vision. This year is all about growing, getting investment, global expansion. I want to take E.L.V. Denim and do what we do here, but take it to all the different sources around the world of denim.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, textile waste, we don't sort it here. We don't deal with it here in the UK. We offshore it.
Yeah.
Where it gets sent to countries with weaker economic laws. And it generally sometimes gets sorted, but then we buy it back, all divided. And like, why can't we sort it here?
So going back to your Air Miles analogy at the beginning with the dress that was delivered. Yeah.
I mean, there's
going backwards and forwards and backwards and everywhere.
There's a multi-billion-dollar industry in transporting waste.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do feel like a finger against the tsunami.
Yeah.
So if we can like package all up us in a little kind of cargo box, set us up in Western Europe, Eastern Europe, America, and then we can sort. We can source locally, we can manufacture, and we can distribute locally.
Yeah.
Because that also helps a business as well as helping in the environment and helping economies. We want to upskill manufacturing industries in different places around the world to be able to upcycle, because it's going to be the future. There's so many things. There's EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility. There is the Green Claims Directive. There's so many legislations coming on board that are going to force brands to have to take responsibility. So as part of that, the consultancy going into other businesses, helping them how to do it. So there's so much going on.
Oh, I see. So you also offer advice to other companies. That makes so much sense, doesn't it?
Because we know how to do it. Because there's so many sustainability consultants who are very valid, but I think they see businesses where it comes from all level of their business. But when it actually comes to monetizing your waste, something that sits on your bottom line, sits on your bottom line, as well as storage, how to distribute. And then you're going to have all those legislations making that much harder as well.
Yeah.
We can show people how to actually take that waste, stop it affecting the environment, but create a revenue stream for a business.
Yeah, so become the experts. Well, it makes sense. If you're the only ones doing it, you've got to be the experts.
Well, we are. And the only academic research you have is all about recycling. But actually, apart from paper, everything to do with material recycling is really toxic. Really toxic. All these recycled materials are plastics.
Yeah.
And so, I know.
It's just so depressing.
It's a bit like you found a solution. This is brilliant. And actually, that solution is being probably promoted by those that are making a lot of money for it. And actually, it's actually a really toxic solution. So I'm just trying to say there is another way. And it is upcycling.
What's coming across loud and clear is your passion, your expertise, what you've discovered and learned on this journey. And like you said, you're not sitting here trying to be an evangelist.
No.
You're just trying to communicate what you understand, what you know. And hopefully, if anybody's listening here and is interested in any of this kind of stuff, then Anna would be a great person to speak to. What has been the biggest learning curve for you?
There's analogy. I love analogies. I mean, I literally could write a book on analogies that I make up myself. But when we were growing up, and this is a midlife entrepreneur podcast, so I hope that everybody will relate to this. It was when you were watching Blue Peter.
Oh, yeah.
It always says, now get an adult to help you.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
You've suddenly brought it back to me.
Yeah. And that is very much the belief that I don't need an adult or experienced people to tell me what to do. Yes, I'm not saying you don't take the advice of someone that's really got experience, and I've definitely got those mentors in my life that I really listen to, have their experience. But I went to this event yesterday with the BFC, they announced the low carbon transition.
That's the British Fashion
Yes,
Council.
the British Fashion Council had the low carbon transition, which is a programme that was funded by the Greater London Authority. And we had an event to launch that at the Palace of Westminster yesterday, which was amazing.
I bet.
And there was a chap called Lord Dibbons, and I really hope I pronounced his name right. And he's reading a book about the railways. And at the beginning of the railways, there was a group of people that were completely against it and said it wasn't going to work, that going this fast was bad for the human body, that it was going to kill cows as it went through. Wildlife would just drop dead every time a train went past. So you're always going to get people that don't. And sometimes you have to listen to their advice because then you can navigate your way around. But it's also always listening to your intuition. And I think that's the advice that has kept me going. And
you've learnt to listen more.
Yeah. And when those kind of mentors or experts aren't around, have the faith in my conviction that I don't have to have had seen someone else do it before to know how to approach it. If that makes sense.
No, that's such a pioneer's attitude. Because it takes enormous courage and conviction to do that. To say, I haven't seen it. We don't know if it's ever been done. Maybe it has, but I don't know about it. And I'm going to try it anyway. That takes masses of courage.
And you have to do it in a way that doesn't feel alien to the people around you, because essentially you're trying to convince an existing industry to fall in line with you.
Yeah.
Because you're still relying on traditional ways of making, but all the innovations that we're doing, we're taking things that you wouldn't necessarily apply to that. And I spoke to someone the other day about it, and they were a bit blank. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you a very odd, another analogy, but Botox, right? Botox has traditionally been used in operations. That was the form to paralyze organs while someone's operating so they wouldn't get in the way of a vital life-saving process.
Yeah.
But then the beauty industry went, why don't we take that method and make it part of the beauty industry? So I'm trying to take techniques that are applied to other industries or other purposes and take those techniques and encourage and present it in a way that our ateliers won't feel overwhelmed by. They'll think they can be part of this. They can learn from that as well. Because everybody wants to learn new skills.
That's true. But I think somebody with your mindset does.
I persuade people that they want to learn new skills. I think that's probably
sure
the better.
You do.
And I think one thing I learned right at the beginning, which I will never do again, is I put all my eggs in one basket with one manufacturer in East London.
Yeah.
Because I'm extremely loyal.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we work together. It's amazing. We're like family, la-da-da. And then one summer I got an email saying, we do not want to work with you anymore. We've learned everything we can from upcycling. We're just going to use raw material. I prefer you didn't drop your collection to us next month, but if you must, I will do it.
Oh, my goodness.
And I literally just was like, oh, my gosh. And I learned then never to put one's eggs all in one's own basket.
Yeah, that's a really good piece of advice. I think I've heard this a couple of times.
Have you? I won't feel so stupid then. But
honestly, I've heard it a couple of times because when you're starting, you find the people who can make your stuff, whether it's clothing or other products, and you have a great relationship and you feel like it's working harmoniously, but you don't know what's going on in their business. No. And so, it does seem like it's something that a lot of people have experienced, what you're describing.
And I immediately, because I'm like this, got on the phone. Can't wait, have to react immediately, which is another thing I've learned to do. Try and not. 75% of the time I can stop myself, but 25% of the time I just barge straight in like a bull in a china shop. Oh my God, why are you doing this to me? This is not going to work without you. And halfway through my sob story of trying to get him back on board, my brain just went, what are you doing? It's fine. We can find other people.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, so bye. And put the phone down. And then spoke to Ellie, who was like my head of studio, went, we need to try this person. Let's go and see them next week. And it was better. The level of production was 100% better. The quality, we didn't have so many QC issues. I was a bit like, wow, thank you. Thank you for giving me the push. And every time I worry about that, I think about that example.
I support a lot of people through career transitions and quite often through redundancy. And that's a very frightening experience for somebody. But that shove, so that experience that you had, which is that the door was closed in your face, and the same with somebody in a job, right? It's the same thing, is that there is something in that moment that the fear inspires incredible action that always leads to something better.
It does. And it happened another time. And I remember I was on a platform in Berlin, and one of our suppliers phoned up and said that you can't handpick anymore. You're going to have to take the massive bales because you're leaving us with all the stretch. So elastane in denim creates stretch denim, which in the 90s was like the hallowed saviour. Everybody loved a stretch denim, myself included. However, stretch denim stretches out of shape. After 6 months, you need a new pair, even the best stretch. But also it contains plastic. That jean cannot decompose.
Yeah.
And when it gets recycled, you can't extract, this is from my Women in Innovation research, you cannot, the warp and the weft, one's got elastane in it and one hasn't. You can unweave those.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it's super expensive.
And and you have to recycle it into a plastic, a pair of stretch jeans. So we don't put stretch into our jeans because otherwise our jeans would stretch out of shape.
Yeah.
And I can't do that because that's our principle.
They wouldn't last as long as you're,
And that's our principle.
Yeah.
However, on that platform in Berlin, when he was, one of our biggest suppliers was saying they wouldn't, then suddenly I thought, our dresses and jumpsuits are really heavy because they're made of rigid denim. We could turn the stretch, because once you cut out stretch and then seam it and put it together, you can imagine like a patchwork quilt.
Yeah.
It can't stretch.
Yeah.
So that fear made my brain kick into overdrive, and we had a solution for all the stretch.
Wow.
So then I was like, that's fine, we can carry on working with you to send us the bales.
But what's really interesting is you're describing like building a habit around solving problems, which is you have to have for business, right? Because you're going to come across problems all the time. But you've built this muscle now around, okay, roadblock, okay, pause, solution. There's got to be a solution.
Yeah, but I don't think that has always come naturally to me.
That's what I mean. You built muscle.
I built the muscle, but also I do tend to fly off the handle with emotions at first, because also I take things. My business is personal. I wrote on the show notes to thank my husband, Toby, and my 3 kids and the dog for letting me have E.L.V. denim as a 4th child.
Yeah.
Because I am personally vested in this.
Yeah, of course.
So it's really hard not to take what feels as rejection personally.
Yeah.
When often, as you say, it's someone else's business or someone else's personal situation that's made them have to make that decision. And often they've had that time to think about it. You haven't.
Yeah.
So it's really hard not to just fly off the handle.
Yeah.
And if you do, then it's like, I have to put the phone down. I just put the phone down. Put the phone down. Put the phone down. And I put the phone down. And then I think about it. Yeah. I think of 3 things. And I have to say, this is part of my work with you, madam, which has allowed me to be able to do this, is I think of 3 things that I can solve without that person or that business being part of my life. Or 3 things that I could have done better than them. Sometimes I only get to 2.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 1.
That's okay.
And that one thing will propel me to realise that person or that business is not meant to be in my life. I will find someone that is meant to be in my life.
Yeah, and taking the pause. And just for listeners, Anna and I worked together in a coaching capacity, and that was an amazing journey for me, and really enjoyed the work. We talked a lot about pausing and taking that time, exactly what you're describing. So I'm delighted to hear you talking about it. Do you know what? It really strikes me when I speak to you. You're so passionate. You have a lot of energy. How do you find the energy to carry on? Where do you get that from?
One of my team asked me last week, she said to me, Anna, when you get older, do you get more energy? She said, not that you're old. And I said, and it made me laugh so much. And I said, I have so much more energy than I did when I was younger. But no, let me rephrase that. I get tired, but I manage, but I realised about 5 or 6 years ago, no, less than that, about 2 years ago, that operating on 6 hours of sleep was not doing me any benefit at all. I was still working on adrenaline, and I was needing tea to get me, I don't drink coffee, but the adrenaline and the high I was getting from a cup of tea was just propelling me through the day.
Yeah.
And actually, I've taken a step back from that, and I try and get 10 hours sleep.
Wow.
Oh, so what am I talking about? 8 hours sleep. And I go to bed at 10.
I was about to
clearly
say,
didn't get that. I was like, your eyes nearly popped out of their heads. I swear to God, you were like, what? No, I go to bed at 10 and get up at 6.
Yeah.
And I get up at 6 and I have my 20-minute routine, which maybe it's psychosomatic, I don't know, but I've been doing it for about a month now and it really makes a difference.
What is your 20-minute routine?
So I get up in the mornings at 6. Because I've got 3 kids.
Yeah.
So I know they'll need me when they get up at 6:30.
Yeah.
So if I can have 20 minutes to prepare myself, I'm in a much better frame of mind to cope with I'm doing a holy colour run today. I need my gym stuff being washed. Can I have a lift to school? And of course, you try to you try to overcompensate for that. You're a working mother, which they don't know any different, and it's only me that feels bad about that. My mother did work towards later in her life, but she didn't work when we were children. So I think that's my own. I don't think my daughter will worry about that.
No,
because but it's interesting actually, the generation to generation. So I don't think you'll have this mother's guilt.
I don't have mother's guilt.
Do you not?
No.
Oh,
I don't. I tell you why. I have no choice. I have to work, and the work that I do is providing all of us, with the roof over our head and the ability to do all the things that they want to do, and I'm really proud of that. And I think that I'm demonstrating to my children that this is life, guys.
I take that on board. I really do.
Yeah.
So I get up in the morning, I make the bed so I can't get back in, I clean my teeth and high five the mirror.
Oh, I love that.
Yep.
Oh
I will not tell. It's not my thing. I listened to a very good podcast by Mel Robbins, and I've been telling everyone to do this.
High five the mirror.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it now.
And then you go for a walk.
Oh, no, that is amazing. So daylight is the most amazing thing. Mind you, have you been doing that? No, so it's been getting lighter, so you can do it.
So 5 minutes if it's light.
Yeah.
10 minutes if it's dark, and 20 minutes if it's raining.
Oh my God, but then what do you do with your hair?
Oh, I literally put my pajamas on. I put a coat, and I literally.
Oh, you're just round the block.
I'm cleaning my teeth.
Yeah.
And now I take the dog for a walk,
yeah.
which gives me a bit more of a purpose.
Yeah.
And stops.
You don't look like a mad person who's just got out of bed, is rolling around the streets. Because I'm just visualising my whole kind of PJ dressing.
Well, I did it in Milan and Paris as well. That's literally it. That's literally my get up. Ugg boots. I put my tracksuit bottoms over my PJs, hat, gloves, and you just go out and you just
breathe in the
it.
fresh
No
air.
phones, nothing.
Nice.
And then I come back at 6:20.
So if you're making the bed, are you kicking your husband out of bed as well at 6?
On my side, isn't he? But he gets up as well. Look, I'm not going to pretend he's going to be, what do you tell everybody that I was lying in bed for? He gets up at the same time.
Yeah. And let's be honest, most people who've got children who are doing school runs are getting up at around that time.
Yeah, because you don't, I've learnt now that getting up at 6:30 just creates a panic for everybody.
Yeah.
They have to be out of the house at 7:30.
Yeah.
My husband also has his own startup business, but that's another added joy. But so yeah, that's my morning routine.
Love it. And what's your evening routine that gets you to fall asleep at 10 p.m? Are you just so exhausted that you fall asleep, or do you actually wind down in some way?
Last night I had a Negroni at 10 o'clock, which was probably a bit controversial.
Wow, that is
odd.
Quite controversial.
Yes.
You're supposed to be having sleepy tea. Maybe that is your sleepy tea.
But do you know what? Sometimes I get to go to bed at 10, and other times, if you want your own time, you want to relax, it's really important after a work day, after the kids have taken up my time, to have that hour to relax.
Yeah.
And that, for me, I would love to say I read works of literary provenance, but I don't. I generally watch currently only Murders in the Building.
Oh, I love that.
Or White Lotus.
Yeah.
Or what else have I been watching? Breeders, which is hilarious.
I haven't seen that.
But you have to watch Hacks.
Yeah.
For anybody that is listening, you have to watch Hacks.
Okay. What channel are we watching this on?
So that's now on
15,000
Sky.
channels that we
It
have
was
to
on
own?
Prime.
Okay, Sky.
But it's now
Hacks.
moved to Sky. It is.
You heard it here, guys.
Oh my God, you have to. I want you to put that in a clip that you put out to everybody. Watch Hacks. And you'll all message me saying, thank you. Thank you.
I might not put it in your clip because I'd rather promote you.
Oh, yes. And
because that's a whole different service.
that is a different service, isn't it? But it just brings you so much joy. Anyway, so
actually, and that's a really good point you're making, and I really resonate with that. I think before we sleep, you do not want to be watching the news before you try to go put your head down on the pillow and have a sound sleep. Watching something that brings you joy, that is a detachment from what's going on in the world or what's going on at work, can be really powerful. Yeah. It's like reading.
It is, and it depends the book I'm reading, and I do read. And I've got this really bad habit of playing solitaire, like really bad habit.
I play Block Blast.
Oh, my kids.
Way worse.
No, solitaire. I love there's 5 different solitaires that I play.
Yeah.
And if I can nail them all in a routine, I can go to bed.
And now that could be a midnight bedtime.
Yeah,
though.
but now if I don't get one, then I have to stop. I don't know what it is, but yeah, solitaire games. I look forward to doing it. But so all those things that it gets me to bed. But I do find that I've got lots of energy. I've removed caffeine a bit. And I actually, after I have my routine, at some point in the morning, I do try and do 8 minutes of meditation.
Nice.
But with an app. Look, I'm not going to be able to sit there and just... No. But I really think that routine has really helped me. Even if it hasn't and it's just psychosomatic, whatever.
Yeah. No, I think
it gives me the ability to take a step back.
It's
and
structure,
also
isn't it?
having a walk during the day, which you don't think you have time to do because you're really busy.
Do. Every day I do. If I have 10 minutes between a client or a meeting, I just think, what can I do? Because you can't get work done in 10 minutes. But I'm like, I could go around the block. I'll walk around the block. Amazing.
The one thing that I don't have in my studio is my own office. So everything's open plan.
Yeah.
And next time when we grow and we move, I love where we are, so I don't know. We'd have to knock into next door. I will have my own office.
Yeah.
So I can just occasionally just scream without anyone. And sometimes I just need to take back a little minute and think it's not going to get solved now.
Yeah.
But then also my brain sometimes forgets a lot of things.
Yeah.
So if I don't do it then, you don't want to forget.
No.
So it's the balance.
In everything, right?
Yeah.
The hardest thing to achieve. So I could talk to you for ages, by the way. But
God, do you want any more analogies?
No. I've lost one. I have a tradition that I call the 3-2-1s, and it's just a way of passing on some of the things that you've learned to the listeners. Anybody who feels like they want to start something, maybe they've just started a business, maybe they are looking for inspiration. And it's been really useful. I put it in the show notes and people can read it and use it and hopefully be inspired or motivated by it. So 3 things you've invested in that have been worth every penny. It doesn't have to just be your work. It could be the 20 minutes that you've been describing. It could be anything. 3 things.
Yeah, I guess my mind, like this routine that I'm very vocal on, it's quite odd saying to people, I high-five the mirror. But there's a study, if you listen to the podcast, that I got this from. But it really, taking those minutes for me has made so much difference. My team, I absolutely adore my team. I really, really do. And my team are paramount to me. And what else have I invested in? Gosh, that is a really... I'm now thinking, I've got this necklace that I invested in. I bought a couple of years ago just to remind me of what I've built and how lucky I am.
Yeah, I love that.
And so when it just reminds me.
Also, it's a tangible thing, right? So
yeah.
You can, like, you're holding it now as you describe it to me.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine there'll be many moments in a week, in a month, where you're holding on to the edge of your seat and thinking, and you can hold it and, we're here. I've built this. We're doing it.
And also the brand. I started the business with £1,500 and it was the best £1,500 I've ever spent.
Amazing. 2 things that you wish you'd done differently.
I wish I had probably trusted my instincts a bit more when I'd spent money on consultants who are great, but I think it took my identity as a founder and a leader for my team away from me a bit. And I think I should have trusted my instincts about being able to do these things myself. There was a stage in 23 where I was listening to too many people. I could have hired a really good person, an MD probably, instead of hiring those consultants.
That's a really good point. A really good point. You know. But it is hindsight, right? So this is why it's important. I always think these are the things that, yes, I wish I could have done differently, but would I be here if I hadn't? We learned so much from the things that we've done, the mistakes that we've made. That's business.
Yeah.
One person you'd like to thank, ideally not you've thanked your family and for allowing you to have the 4th child. And not that we should take it for granted because family is really important in our entrepreneurial journeys, but is there one person outside your family that you'd like to thank?
I think I would probably like to thank Mima Biglezio, who's been a bit of a mentor for me. And she really believes in what I'm doing. She is a very dear friend, but she's someone with great wise experience, and she also is a sounding board for when I tell her about positive things. She's like, you haven't sounded this positive for ages. I'm really pleased about that. I don't think you should have done that. And she's very blunt.
Is she a business person? Sorry.
She was the communication director of the Gucci Group for years. So she's been in the industry for many years, and she's on the board of different groups. So she has a huge amount of experience when it comes to big business and in the fashion industry. And she is unwavering in her support. And she was there from like when I was still at Lula magazine doing this. She was my editor. So
thank you to
thank you to Mima. Yeah.
Mima. Thank you, Mima. Oh, Anna, it's been so amazing having you on the show. Thank you for taking time out of what is obviously a very busy time for you.
It's been my pleasure.
And I really appreciate it. Thanks for being on Midlife Entrepreneur.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning into the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to click follow on your favourite podcast platform and leave a review. It really helps us reach more listeners just like you. Finally, if you're a midlife entrepreneur with an interesting story to share or would like to nominate a guest, you can do so via my email. All information will be in the show notes. See you next time.